Well, we hope
We hope this is going to work. We can talk for a few minutes to see if it does.
Is there a way to see if there's a messaging?
I'm looking, yeah. Let's see.
It's weird because it doesn't tell us if there's anybody there or not.
Right.
And we can't see. It's like, as we're trying to figure this out, we're trying to figure out how you guys can ask questions, how we can actually have real-time conversations. And it's kind of funny the way that this works. Oh, wait a minute, it shows somebody here. So hopefully this thing.
Yeah, please message us on the side and let us know who you are and you know, okay. Okay, good. So it is working.
Okay, so it does work.
We don't know.
Yeah, we're trying.
We don't know.
We're trying, but this is new. Oh, look, you got us all to yourself.
Wow.
All right, so.
I'm sure there will be others, but maybe we lost her.
I think I am sure.
Oh, when's your birthday?
6/12?
Is it 6/12? My birthday's 6/12. I don't know if we lost her or not.
I know it shows
it's
0.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm going to go over to YouTube and see what it's saying over there.
Okay. Oh, 6/13. Oh, wow.
Oh, one day.
Wow.
Yeah. What year? Or if you don't want me to know, I got to. I'm 1970. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we want to talk about a couple things today, but since you have us all to yourself, let's talk about, or let's. Oh man, yeah, you're young.
Yeah. Okay. See
that's a good thing. That's a good save you from a lot of heartache. Oh, Gemini, we're so fun. We're so fun. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions for us? You have us all to yourself. I'm sure that everybody else will be able to view this if they're not here. But we just.
Did you get to watch our video yesterday? I don't know if you had a chance to watch that because we were on there for quite a bit.
And, an hour and a half.
It was almost 2 hours. And, you know, it's really interesting because we get a lot of questions, but sometimes when we just sit back and actually answer them.
Are you able to go to the YouTube and see if something's happening over there?
I can try.
Yeah, just don't.
Yeah,
knock
just
out.
See if I can go here.
I've already done that. I'm just talking about where you set it up. Could you have? I say we leave. Oh, that is. You're already on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
So we're not on Patreon.
No, the link is showing up. You could probably view this one of two ways. You can copy and paste the link to go to YouTube, or you can just click it. I think you can watch it if you're on Patreon.
Well, we only gave the post to Patreon members.
Yeah. So
this is what it'll show up when we're done.
Yeah. So it should show if somebody clicks in, it should show that this is happening live.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I'm going to try that.
Actually, maybe you can probably help us out. Aisha, is it possible for you to just kind of click and find out? Are you viewing this from YouTube or are you showing this? I think the link doesn't show up for non-Patreon. Okay. So did you click into the link from Patreon and or YouTube, or are you still on Patreon?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
The connection is freezing. Yeah, we've had some funny. We live probably 25 minutes away from this thing that happened in Dayton. So it's got our internet is just crap today. You were notified on Patreon. Okay.
Oh, good.
Did you click from Patreon to get to? Okay.
Okay. Even better.
Hey, okay, so it does work.
That's fine.
That's fantastic news. All right.
And nevertheless, the end of the video will be back. Will be on the Patreon site. So.
Absolutely.
Interesting chitter chatter, but in light of the recent events here, and I did make a post on our Twin Flame work group. If you're not a member of the Twin Flame work group, it's Twin Flame Work Group by Relationship Reinvented on Facebook. We've had quite a few inquiries on our safety. We're clearly okay. We don't live too awful far. We live in a little village or town called Morrow, right? We are in between Dayton and Cincinnati.
Closer to Dayton?
A little bit closer to Dayton by maybe 5 miles. Yeah. It's an exact What's going on?
She said you probably tell your clients to download the Patreon app as this house notified.
Okay, that's fine. But we are directly in the middle of both airports. Where this incident happened was actually in downtown Dayton at a place I used to frequent a lot in my single days, and when I was seeing other people, it's a lot of fun down there. It's a good time, and there's a lot of police presence. So thankfully, there's a lot of police presence there, and they were able to take this gunman down in less than a minute. Unfortunately, he took 9 lives. So, well, he took 8 or 9, and then they took his life. So it's quite an interesting event. We have some personal ties to some people who were shot and killed. But Dayton, Ohio has been through quite a bit with tornadoes that ripped the city apart. And then we had a KKK rally that came in to try to disrupt the peace in the city. And we didn't let that happen. And literally there were like 6 KKK members and thousands of protesters, thousands of them. So they were outnumbered by far. And now this. So our hearts and prayers and thoughts and meditations go out to Dayton, Ohio.
You live in Canada. Okay.
It's funny that my daughter, I was just texting her at work. She said, I'm moving to Canada.
A lot of, actually, did you see
moving to Canada? The
recent post that I've actually been following is how a lot of the doctors in the United States have defected to Canada because the healthcare system is so much better and freer for everybody.
Yeah.
They were tired of losing people because they didn't have health insurance.
Right.
So they moved in. The doctors are actually, there's like a list of doctors that are trying to get on in Canada, hospitals and practices, and it's an influx, and they're not turning them away. They're actually finding them places because the United States, most of the doctors don't make what they used to because of the way that a lot of private practices don't take health insurance. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, seems to be glitching up. Oh,
I hope it doesn't in the main thing. Yeah. I hope it doesn't. We'll see.
So we have some things to go over?
Yeah, I just wanted to have some in general discussion. If you happen to have any questions, and then again, if you're watching this afterwards, if you happen to have any questions, we can discuss in our next live. We aim to come live for at least an hour every week here on Patreon, and we have podcast equipment coming, so we can do our live podcast every week. And
so you have one question?
And videos, and I would love to hear your question.
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
Yeah. It might be glitching, so we'll have.
Yeah, take your time.
And so glad that she was notified on Patreon.
Yeah, well, it seems to be that if you have the app, do you have the app?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to get the app just so I can understand, because she's saying you'll hear about it on the app. So we probably should tell people if you download the app. And okay. Is it possible to have multiple twins? I met my twin flame after she met someone who thought was her twin flame. And when I saw her cry in a video, I was about to say, I see myself in you twin, which is why she messaged me on Instagram. They're part of the writing community. Okay, so
I'm going to start
with
a disclaimer.
When she messaged me, I heard in my head, she is your twin flame. I got scared because I didn't know what that meant. Okay.
Clearly, this is opinion, my opinion. And a lot of times people will take mine or Lee's or collective opinions and try to make it gold. And it's not. It's just an opinion that I have formed within myself on the way that I actually have felt and feel. It is in my opinion that there is only one true twin flame. It is also in my opinion that we have multiple soulmates. The likelihood of you meeting your twin flame is about the likelihood of playing the lottery, which is why we either should or shouldn't play the lottery. We shouldn't because we've already got our jackpot, or we should because we're on a lucky streak. But if you're lucky enough, and a lot of people are becoming lucky enough to have found that their person or whatever, then this is something that you will feel inside of you, something that you know that even though everybody around you will tell you that it's fake and it's false, and that you're in a cult or you're believing or you're delusional or a million other things, that this is something you feel and ultimately you know is right and real in you. It's something that I quit questioning a long time ago, right? I questioned it for a very long time. And now I no longer question it because I found that questioning it was taking away from the connection.
Okay. I'll finish up with what she's saying. And then she told me she was crying because she left her twin flame. That creeped me out even more. And now 2 years later, after she confessed to me that she knows I am her twin, she started a romantic affair with this guy she thought was her twin again and left me cold and dry. Even though she could feel me in all sorts of ways, even when I was intimate with myself, she could feel that and would tell me right then and there, which was scary. Okay. Hopefully, did you understand how Sherry explained it? Did that resonate with you as a Gemini?
Nothing wrong with Geminis.
Don't know if there's a delay.
Probably.
I've asked this question numerous times and keep coming back to the same conclusion. For me, I don't know what this is for anybody else. There is a vibration of it's an intensity that you recognize or you actually embody that I think is unquestionable who the direct and only person is. That doesn't mean you won't feel a vibration from others. I think the degree of the intensity is going to be different. I believe the intensity will be different. I believe the energy will be different, but there's one that actually is so strong, it reflects back to you some very strong things that tells you without a question, without shadow of a doubt, that this person is the one you're directly connected to. A lot of the vibrations can be felt based on the different connections you've had throughout your life. That is kind of, I think there's like a varying degree of things that I feel. I mean, you literally can look at somebody and go, okay, there's an energy here, but it's not the same energy as this energy. That energy, once it's been recognized, is never going to be duplicated in any other vibration or frequency. But it brings out in you everything that you've ever experienced in connection since you've been here. And that's the one that I think that you experience the most. So I don't know if that resonates with you or anybody else who's watching this video. I believe that you will have that one particular one. Depending on where you come from, depending on how you were raised, depending on the things that have happened to you thus far in this existence, I believe that all of the things have some impact on how much you get to feel versus how much you actually think. So hopefully that does open up something you can look for on the inside, because the only way you know for sure who you're connected to is inside. It's not what the other person's going to say to you. It's not how they're treating you. It's not what they can even say. It's something on the inside of you that doesn't even come from the mind. It comes from somewhere else inside of you, deep within you. And I think that's kind of what Sherry was saying. I agree with that, but I see it in a multitude of ways. Let's see, even though she could feel, okay, it does to me. I dreamt of her before meeting her since childhood. Even had some weird Jesus Christ dream where all these people in pairs stand on a hill and he points to this constellation. He introduces to our partner and it was her. This was before I met her. I was an atheist back then. We were both women and we were straight before meeting each other. I thought I was lesbian when I met her, so I went on Netflix to see if I was gay. I watched a movie on a lesbian couple. That's kind of ingenious. I wouldn't think people would go, but you think about technology now, people search any kind of information. Began on saying that this video was on Twin Flames. It is called Elena Undone and ended up being a Twin Flame introductory course. Haha. That's on Netflix?
Interesting. I'd like to check that out.
Yeah, I'd never, Elena Undone. Okay. Definitely something for us to look at. So I have been seeing all these signs since the day I met her, and it's hard for me to trust them because she ran away. Well, you kind of, I don't know if you read what you just put, but let's talk about that. When you say it was hard for you to trust, would you expect anybody to stay with you if they felt that you didn't trust them? And how do you go back and correct what you don't trust? Well, okay, let me explain it this way. You said, it is hard for me to trust them because she ran away. So when you started to feel, okay, very connected to her, did you have any trust issues? Trust in what you were feeling, or trust towards what you were getting back from her? Did you have trust? Was there something affecting the ability to trust? If so, write out those things that you tell yourself that you couldn't trust, or you felt you shouldn't trust, or felt that something was not quite right or not quite the truth. Yes, I was afraid she would run away first when we met because this would be too overwhelming. Okay, so there it is. So let me show you something in this connection. If I sat here and said, oh gosh, you know, she probably just doesn't want to sit close to me. She doesn't want to sit close to me. She doesn't want to sit close to me. And I'm looking at her. She's going to pick up the energy of what I'm feeling. Do you think she's going to come towards me or away from me? Right?
You're right.
It's kind of like if you're sitting there going, he hasn't kissed me all day. He hasn't kissed me all day. I guess he just doesn't want to kiss me. And then I'm looking at you and you've got this look, or I feel this energy coming from you. The energy is not very inviting.
Right.
So without any communication in this space, we're going to stay separate, and both of us are going to end up feeling rejected. This is the energy of rejection, which is it's hard to see, but it literally is one of those things we all walk around with. We don't even realize we utilize it more than we utilize come closer. And it can happen at great distances. It can happen over the phone. It can happen through email. It can happen in any energy field. Yes, I was afraid she would run away first when we met because this would be too overwhelming for her. When she confronted me on the telepathy and remote touching, I didn't reply and lied. So she was going to run towards you because you were telling her that. Did you watch the video by chance yesterday where we were talking about if you don't have a foundation of truth, if you guys are not completely open in your communication, you'll end up doing this thing where you go away from each other until you realize there's some things you need to be very open about. Actually, I don't know that there's anything you can't be open about. Your mind is going to tell you that you can't be open about this or that, but those are the things that you should be saying out loud, or at least sharing with this connection, because her interpretation of you could she pick up on the fact that you were lying? Could she pick up on the fact that you were keeping something from her? Did she pick up on the fact that vulnerability all of a sudden went away from your connection? Sometimes I wonder if the multiple twin flame thing is true and I'm the one that isn't good enough, which sounds ridiculous. Absolutely sounds ridiculous.
Yep.
This connection does not measure on whether you're good enough or not. It stays the same. It tries to get you to figure out that in your head is where you're telling yourself you're not good enough and you're choosing your head over your heart. It's very easy to do. Especially if you've got a past which has dialogue or has events in it which took place that you ended up telling yourself was the result of telling yourself you weren't good enough. Those things are things that show up in this connection quite a bit. So hopefully that is a place to look. I guess it's because I am a woman and the man she thought was her twin flame previous to meeting me Is a man, I don't know.
Mhm.
We talked about this yesterday. I'm hoping we can talk about it a little bit more in depth on Patreon. We are all made up of masculine and feminine energy. If her masculine is wounded and she shifted out of it and stayed in the feminine, and then her twin picked up on masculine energy she needed to heal from, she probably went towards that energy first before she could see her, because she had abandoned the masculine. It is, I wish it wasn't so, it's complex because the human mind wants to make it complex, but it's very, in fact, quite simple. It's kind of like when I said yesterday, Sherry and I stand in the divine. Sherry prefers to be in the masculine. I could stay in the masculine, but I can stay in the masculine opposite of what masculine she's standing. She can stand in the masculine positive or the masculine negative, and I can switch and stand in the masculine negative or positive, depending on which one. Because when we're both in the same one, we end up having conflict. And that conflict shuts up both of us down. So the feminine aspect of this is that there's a feminine aspect to all of it. The nurturing or the disconnect that can happen usually comes from the space that you can shift in between you two in connection. She was clearly attracted to me, and she said she felt the same way. She also kept asking me to wake up to the fact that I'm her twin flame. I already knew that we were, but didn't admit it until she reached her breaking point. So you waited till she stated that she didn't want, okay. So you're admitting, well, she ran after your butt. I want you to pick up on this. Why, and if you knew that you felt a connection to her, why at any space did you start pushing away or stop or not even admit or not even open up to what you were feeling? What was stopping you from just being in the connection? Was it her or was it you? Okay, she is married and has kids. Understandable. But connection is connection. Do you think her being married, Sherry was married and had kids, did that going to stop the connection from showing up? How did you guys communicate through that?
That's interesting.
What would you see?
Didn't we have a coach to go through this very same thing early on? Moved to North Carolina.
Yes. Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. Mm-hmm. I just didn't want to overwhelm her, I guess. So I feel like I'm too much for her sometimes. Interestingly, when she left, she said I'm too much and not good enough, which were my exact thoughts. So you taught her how to treat you based on that. Because here's what she has to give you. She has to give you what you give yourself. If you would have been telling yourself you and her were going to flow and you weren't going to overwhelm her and that you weren't too much for her, would you have shown up differently? If you weren't thinking that, how did you show up? If you weren't, you see, it's the way that you're telling yourself in your head is how you were going to show up. No, she said she thought about her own self, and those were my thoughts about myself. Right. But at some point, if she was going to try to choose you and she felt a connection to you, she would have to give you what you have in connection to yourself. In connection to yourself, you're telling yourself that you would overwhelm her and that you probably weren't good enough and that you'd be too much for her. So literally the energy that she was going to be picking up from you would give her permission to do that because you were already in permission to do that to yourself. So how do you change that now? The way that you wanted to show up for her, is that the way that you let yourself show up for her? The way that you wanted to show up for yourself, is that the way you wanted to show up for yourself? Right?
Right.
It's almost like you have to look at those things before you're going to be able to understand what the connection's actually trying to give you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So for your homework, write out why you're telling yourself you were going to overwhelm her. Write out why you were telling yourself you were too much for her sometimes. Send that to us. Then send that to us why you measured this somehow and telling yourself that you were good enough. I'm working on that now, but you abandon a lot of the things that you say. I hope you pay attention.
Girl.
I am working on that now, but does that tell us you're working on it or you're not? I still feel like I'm not good enough. What does good enough have to do with this connection? Have you figured that out yet? And what does good enough have to do with you in connection to yourself? Where did that start? When did you first feel that way? When did you first tell yourself it was because you weren't good enough? Look at those things and look deeply at those things to tell yourself the truth of why you came up with not good enough. Usually when Sherry and I do root camp, when we take someone through root camp, we find that you can tell yourself you're not good enough because of some life events that have happened that you didn't have any answers to. This is usually what we can put in that space so we don't have to investigate it any further. Then we walk around punishing ourselves for that investigation or lack of investigation. So not looking deeper into what told you weren't good enough is going to keep not good enough getting your energy, your power, the way you think about things, the way you treat things. It's really going to show you, is this really about being good enough or not? Your ability to love is not based on being good enough. Your ability to be loved is not based on being good enough or not good enough. It's never been that way. So when you look for what you're looking for here, look for the events that took place. Tell yourself the truth about those events. Okay, so I guess some part of me feels like I've always been punished. So who's punishing you now by telling you you're not good enough? Is it her or you? And if you look at it closely, you're going to find that it was you. God is inside. I'm not trying to tell you not to look there, but I'm telling you if there's anything external about the word itself and what it actually means, that also speaks to transformation. It also speaks to the creation of everything. So look back to where it got created.
I'm interested in, because she had said she was an atheist before. So I'm interested in, clearly, I don't want to get into a big religious debate because I'm not religious at all. I consider myself to be more spiritual. I despise organized religion. It's my opinion. I just despise it. In being an atheist, I don't think I've ever considered myself an atheist. I think I've kind of left the door open to perhaps there's something out there. Hell, I don't know. Right? Somebody once said to me, why is it you don't believe? And I said, I can't. There's so many discrepancies, right? I need to see to be able to believe that it's there, right? That's a big deal with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, Sherry, can you see the air you're breathing? Or the breeze that's blowing the trees? And I said, no. And he said, but you know it's there. To me, I think God is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual, all around, in us as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
There, you know what I mean? That type of thing. When there's when it brings to light something, this connection. Wait a minute, maybe I've dismissed a little bit too much. I'm feeling something now, right? It sort of changes your perspective and changes things.
Right.
Yeah. My twin and I both reflect that fear of believing in something more to each other. So actually believing that there's a higher power, something more out there, is bringing fear. To me, it almost brings peace. I have a very personal problem with one human and I say human because human beings have humanized the idea of a God, right? Not only have we humanized him, we've put a white beard on him and a coat.
Mm.
We've humanized him, and we've humanized how he looks, right?
We even call him a he.
We even call him a he, right? There it is.
Mm. But the only thing giving life on the planet is feminine energy. So I don't know that I can actually believe anything that's written because it's like a complete total disregard of what actually produces life on our planet.
I want to believe that there's something out there guiding us. I'm personally a medium, so I know that there's something. I don't know that there's something beyond, but I know that our spirits, our energies continue to be, right? Because I talk to them. So it's interesting. That comment just kind of struck interesting to me, for sure.
Mm. So I would tell you that is the work. If you feel like you've always been punished for something, go back and look at when those began. Find out what you're telling yourself you were punished for. If you can't remember what you were punished for, you've given something a lot of power without any real backing or any real truth to it, to attach to it, to make sense of being punished, or making sense of not being good enough. It does require you to do this kind of work because the connection kind of puts you in a space where you have to do it. You can't walk away. The more you walk away from it, the more you end up in that waiting space. And that waiting space is a horrible space to be in. You won't have any actual movement, and everything around you just seems to go on without you. That actually has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you and connection to yourself. Thank you for the advice, kind words, and about God, etc. I feel like deep down in my heart, but grew up in a religious household, they were Muslim. So God was kind of patriarchal and punishing.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
Yeah, the only thing if I was to share with you what I believe God is now. There's never a time when God is not now.
Right.
It is everything that is in this moment. And we're all having a hard time accepting this moment the way it is. We haven't accepted God anyway. That's how I look at it.
I'm Afghan and my twin is white American.
So
our connection is kind of not allowed.
Who are you telling? No, I'm with you.
Yeah, for sure.
You found us. We definitely understand what it means to be connected, but be connected under different cultural, different color, different backgrounds. It's
not only are they biracial, they're the same sex.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got a
her parents are Catholic and super religious too. So
and it just doesn't take away from the connection at all, does it?
And here's one thing I will say how I feel about the only thing I will ever say about religion is that anything that promotes and disguises or keeps our ability to love one another equal is not really something anybody should follow, because it kind of separates us all in a collective format that keeps the same way of being. We never really grow as a planet. We never really learn new things. We never really venture out to explore why we're here. We all get stuck back in the same old cycle. So that's just been my opinion. And from looking through those eyes, I see that it's better for me not to see religion. The eyes of spirituality make more sense to be able to see that everything's connected.
They met 11 years. She's 11 years older than her. They met on 11/11.
Wow. That's cute. Well, hopefully this helped you some. Helped all of you. We're going to try to do some more lives.
We're going to try to do once a week. I'd like to get our Patreon live video in once a week. You know, trying to come up with times is going to be, because we now have so many Patreon members, that it's going to be hard to get everybody's schedules together, but we will try to give you advanced notice right?
Mhm.
When we're coming live and what we're doing. If there's videos coming out or whatever, the same system we used for this, we will attempt to use again. As you guys, some of you already know, we've been really trying to figure out this Patreon site with a lot of other things that we're doing. We've just had some trouble with it and in getting the emails, and it wasn't connected to the correct email that you used to get anymore. It was just a mess. We got that worked out. We're working out the kinks. You know, we're only a couple months, 2 or 3, 4 months old. No, we're a little bit longer than that, 5 or 6 months old.
It was hard, very hard at the beginning
Yeah,
because it was
yeah.
still new and they were changing.
In the
websites.
beginning, it was a hot mess, but we're working it out, and it seems to be going a little smooth. We really thought this was going to be harder today than it actually was. We just know that we have to go through a YouTube format to be able to get here, and nobody sees this but our Patreon members. It is unlisted.
Yes, we do have you scheduled down.
So yes, we do.
Sure do.
Mhm.
So thank you guys for taking the time with us today.
Mhm.
We love you, and
Yep.
we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, we will. Her,
Oh, bye.
wait a minute. I want to see
Oh.
that.
Okay.
Okay,
I
she's
haven't hit-
scheduled.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's good. Yes, we will see you soon.
Okay.